Okay, this will take a second just to set up. I've never done this before. Don't add this to my time. Or, okay, okay. My TED Talk. I'll time it so it's not much longer than 5 minutes because last time you know better than anybody else that I far longer than 5 minutes. Okay, so ecological, uh, ecology and Emerson's essays. This is a TED Talk to instruct, to provoke people who occupy the position of a teacher in an English classroom so that they can include in their pedagogies and just the way that they conduct themselves in the classroom, thinking developed in what is said to be called just environmental education. Anyway, Emerson, everybody knows, extraordinarily important figure in American English writing. Here's just a set of photos of people who read him deeply. We got the James brothers on the left. We got Melville, Whitman, Emerson, Emily Dickinson. Of course, there's also Baudelaire, Blanqui, Thoreau, everybody, Nietzsche. They were all reading him at this time. And I've been told, I've read that at the turn of the 20th century, every middle-class-ish home in the United States was sure to have 3 books in its library, at least. The Bible, Shakespeare's plays, and Emerson's essays. So he is determining of what became the development of letters in English since him. And not only these major figures, my friend was doing research in an archive and found a newspaper from the 1870s. There was a notice to all the shop boys in town which said, take the day off work, Emerson's in town, go listen to him. So he was a celebrity. He was speaking not only to these other significant figures, but everyday shop boys. So in our English classes, thesis, this is a perennial question, and it's always one that's revisited, of course. It's taught so poorly. I've heard it so often said that a thesis is something that you can argue, which is entirely unilluminating. A thesis is a sentence, just like every other part in an essay and other sentences. If there's anything that distinguishes it at all from the others, and probably there shouldn't be, it's that it more powerfully than the other sentences opens eyes. And here I just have an excerpt from the movie The Philadelphia Story, an exchange between Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, where it's about, oh, I don't know what's the matter with me. I must have had too much sun yesterday. My eyes don't open properly. Really? Oh, please go home, Dustin Fixer. Not until we've got those eyes open. And I say this because Emerson is a major figure of course, American writing. He wrote essays, but curiously, you'll find not one thesis in his essays. So how does a person wrap their mind around the fact that there's a tradition in English classrooms to insist that an essay, by nature of its form, is organized around a thesis, yet the essays of Emerson, the major determiner of the form of the essay in English, did not include any theses in his essays. It's because, as I've said, every sentence has the power to open eyes. Every one of his sentences could possibly be the thesis of the paragraph to which it belongs. There's a sort of roving center. And this is in resonance with what we take if we look into ecological environmental studies, because we know that in environmental places, there is no center, there's no hierarchy. If there is anything like a center, it's at the lowest level, for example, the bacterial strata, but not central, not a pinnacle, not a single sentence, the thesis one, around which everything else is subordinated and coordinated. So this is something to say in teaching essay writing. Emerson's essays demonstrate already in their form something that we take from ecological environmental studies, this non-hierarchical, distributed nature of the intelligence. And from one of our readings, for example, here, this passage from Wittgenstein's Culture and Value, quoted in Stickney Seeing Trees, emphasizes the importance of indirection. And same too, of course, you'll find Emerson ahead of everybody else as normal, is also underlining the absolute importance of obliquity, casualness, indirection. And of course, the way that nature, say, communicates its intelligence is indirectly. Also, too, we get from environmental educators the notion that when you do authentically, in a way, enter an environmental surround, the environment, the land, you'll find there other beings, other ones that have always already been there, have been in relationship with each other. And it's important to know this, to keep this in mind, and that when one enters, one does so with courtesy, with awareness, and respectful of what's already there. We'll see again, Emerson articulates this beautifully. The greatest delight which the fields and woods minister is the suggestion of an occult relation between man and the vegetable. I'm not alone and unacknowledged. They nod to me and I to them. This is exactly something that we find in Raiding Sweetgrass, Robin Wall Kimmerer's book. Something I'll say coming to the end, just take another look at this. Montaigne, another standard in the construction of the essay as we know it. Look at his titles: On Idleness, On Liars, On the Power of Imagination, On the Education of Children, etc. Each of these titles has the word on at its front. Emerson, of course, a major reader of Montaigne. His titles, they've left the on out. This, I think, describes, demonstrates something too that we take from environmental ecological studies, that there's not this sort of sublime or a strange distance from the object, but one always finds oneself in the middle of. So the essay, for example, the first in this first series of Emerson's, title which is History, it's not on history. Read it and get an experience of history. Be in the middle of history. Read the second one, Self-Reliance, and be in the middle of the dynamics he's describing, which go under the name of self-reliance. So we can introduce to our students a mode of a way of entering reading, writing, which is always in the middle of. Emerson gives us the model for doing that, and by a happy coincidence, we find analogies, resonances with what we discover while we read ecological environmental authors. Here's my reference list. I hope that wasn't too long. I know it's a couple minutes over, but 5 minutes is a very short amount of time. I will stop the video now once I find out how I can. How do I stop this?